Hello and welcome to the Girl That Went For It podcast. I'm your host, Johanna Scholz, also known as Johanna Liana on Instagram, and author of Believe in Life, How to Dance in the Rain. Feel free to follow me on Instagram, Johanna_Liana, for daily content. And now enjoy this episode. Hello and welcome back to a new episode. Thank you so much for joining today. If you're new here, welcome to the Girl That Went For It podcast. Today, I want to talk about the cool person and how to become a cool person and the person that attracts other cool person and what is a cool person actually. I was chatting to a friend the other day and we talked about how weird it was in high school that there was like this cool girl or like this cool group. We probably can all agree, and even in like movies you see like this popular group, and often I feel like in movies this group is actually not nice, like for example Mean Girls. You know how the girls are mean. So yeah, we talked about the cool girl in school or the cool guy in school, and then we talked about what does a cool person for us actually do or be, or what is a cool person. Anyway, today we are not talking about that. We're not talking about the mean girls in school. We are not talking about the cool group in school. We are talking about what does it mean to be a cool person for you? What is a cool person for you? And yeah, enjoy this episode. Share this with someone who needs to hear this, who is a cool person to you. And let's start. First of all, what is the definition of cool? Surprise, it's different to anyone. Any one of us has a different definition of a cool person, or like of cool. Like what is cool? What is cool to me might not be cool to you. So everyone has a different opinion anyway. So there is actually, to get back to the clique in school about the cool people, like who decided that they're cool in the first place? I don't know, but somehow that's just what it is when you're in school. But anyway, not going to talk about school here, but just want to say that the definition of cool is different to anyone. What I think is cool might not be someone else's taste. Maybe take a moment and think about who is the coolest person to you. Like who is it? Who is super cool in your eyes? My 14-year-old me probably would have thought like the coolest person is the girl in school that wears like really cool outfits and has like this cool new handbag and drives this really cool car and has like all these friends. Back then, when I was 14, that was probably for me the definition of cool. It's not anymore, because for me, it is not about the outside of a person. It's about the inside of a person. Like what their values are, how they, yes, show up, but not in a way of what they wear, more in the way of the energy and vibes they're spreading. Honestly, for me, the coolest person is someone that radiates energy, good vibes, happiness. That's my definition of that's a cool person. I want to be friends with them. Because if you take all these materialistic things away from that person that I just mentioned as my 14-year-old's definition of cool, if you take all these things away, are they really that cool? Like, are they like kind? Because that's what cool is to me, like what cool means to me, a kind person. I'm going to get into this later, like what my definition of a cool person is, but it is truly not about the outside. It's not about what they have. It's not about how they show up as in what they are wearing. It's more about the energy that they're spreading, how they make you feel. I think that's like the best thing to define like a cool person. You know how sometimes when you meet a person for the first time, you can just pick up their vibes, and you meet this person and like straight away after like talking to them for a minute or even less, you're like, wow, that person is really cool. I want to be friends with them, or I could imagine being friends with them. That is how you can literally define what a cool person means to you, what it means to be a genuinely good person to you, like someone you want to be friends with. Because that's what I think. Like when I think of a cool person, like for me, I want to be around them. I want to learn from them. I want to grow from them, through them, however you call it. And it's really about like the energy around them and the aura, like how they make you feel, how they influence your day in a positive way. You know, like those people you literally crave to be around. You literally crave to be friends with them. You literally crave their energy. You want them to be part of your life. These are literally the coolest people ever. It's like the characteristic they have. When I wrote this episode, like obviously I always take notes before I start talking because otherwise I can talk for hours and also there won't be much structure. But when I was taking like notes for this episode, it was really good for me to reflect on what is a cool person for me, like what characteristics I think are cool. And for me, the first one is definitely kindness. When someone opens the door for you or holds the door open for a person, or when someone helps an old lady at the checkout, or someone is just really kind and helpful, you know what I mean? Like someone who is genuinely kind and does it from not to get any not to get anything back. Like they are kind because they choose to be kind and not because they're wanting anything in return. Even like paying for someone's things, like let's say you are at the checkout and they don't have enough money and you just say like, hey, I pay the difference. I think that is really cool because it just, for me, the characteristic kindness, helping other people doesn't have to be money, not like you have to pay for something. But for me, a cool person is someone who's helpful, who's kind, who makes you feel good, who is just someone you crave to have around you. Another characteristic is someone who's happy, like a positive person. I'm not saying you have to be positive all the time. Like I try to be a positive person, but I also have my bad days. We all do. But for me, a cool person is someone who radiates, is that how you say it? Someone who radiates good energy. Someone who is uplifting. Someone who, when you meet them and you grab coffee with them or whatever you're doing, you catch up with them, after you leave that catch up, you feel good. You feel like you've filled up your cup. That's for me, like, a person who does that is a cool person to me. And here, like, literally the opposite is what I don't crave to attract in my life or don't want to be around, and that's people who are always moaning, who are always negative and complaining and not changing anything. You meet them and they're literally, you can just really feel how they suck the energy out of you. We all have bad days. I said this before, and it's normal to have a bad day. It's normal to just let it all out. But I think you understand what I mean. Like people you meet for the first time and you literally can feel their energy, or like people you've been around, or people you've been around a few times and you gave them another shot and you try like, okay, maybe we can vibe once we get to know each other. But unfortunately, there are some like people who are just always complaining and negative and literally drag you down. And for me, that's just not cool. And that's not someone I would call a cool person. Also, what I think is so not cool is someone who is talking about other people behind their back, or in general is always gossiping. That is so uncool, and that's definitely not how you can become a cool person. When you always gossip about others, always want to know what's happening and talk about what she or he does and who he or she is dating and why and blah blah blah. That's, for me, just not a cool person. And I could imagine that is also not the definition of a cool person for other people. Like trying to bring others down so you can get yourself up there is just not cool. So that kind of reminds me of Mean Girls, the movie, where they're just mean girls. So for me, a cool person, and you can take some notes out of here if you align with that as well. Like I said, everyone has a different definition of cool. But for me, a cool person is someone who cheers other people on, who encourages other people to follow their dreams, or to encourage other people to speak up for themselves and be themselves. That's for me a cool person. The main message that I want to bring across here when I talk about how to become a cool person is it's not about the outside, it all is about the inside. Yes, you can share who you are with what you're wearing, or you can express yourself with like who you are in the way you dress, if you like that, if that's something you are interested in, if you're interested in fashion, that's totally fine. But just know that your heart is what makes you as a person, and not what you have, not what you wear, not if you have like the newest Louis Vuitton bag, or I don't know that, like, actually I'm not a brand person, so I can't like name anymore. Louis Vuitton was the first one that came into my mind. But it's not about like what you have and show off that makes you cool. It's what you give and how you make people feel in the inside. So yeah, just something to think about, like, who do you describe as cool in the past, and does it really mean, is it still what cool means to you, and what actually means being a cool person to you. I just want to share some more things that, like, qualities that I think make a cool person, and that's someone who doesn't care about what other people think, not in the way that they ignore them or don't value other people's opinions or something, more in the way of they are so true to themselves and they don't care what other people think. If I dance in the crowd, or if they dance in the crowd, like no one's watching, I think that makes a really cool person. Like having the courage to really show up as yourself, like dancing, like closing your eyes and just feeling the music. I think that is a really cool person. I also think qualities that make a cool person are respect, like respect for others, and also respect for yourself, like standing up for yourself again. Like that's something that I think is really cool, like being confident, showing up as a confident person. Some people might trigger that, like when someone is really confident, but I think that's really cool when someone is really confident speaking in front of a crowd, or I don't know, just really confident in what they're doing. I think that's a really good quality. And for me personally, I think when someone is really confident, I think, wow, that's a cool person. And if it's triggering you, sorry, I'm just going to go a bit back. It's quite sunny. Just had to close the curtain. If this is triggering you, if a confident person is for some reason triggering you, you have to do some work and think, why is this triggering you? Do you want to be as confident as that person? Because that's often the case. Often it triggers us because we compare ourselves and maybe we want to be like that person. And then it's really important to shift that mindset and see that person as an inspiration and being like, wow, I want to be like that person, and that's so cool. That person is so cool. She's so confident and I want to be that confident. And I think, yeah, whenever you feel like something triggers you in a person, ask yourself, why is this triggering me? Like, is it triggering me because I crave to be like that? Is it triggering me because I want to be more confident, but I'm just too shy or whatever? Becoming aware of that is really good. But also there might be characteristic traits that trigger you in a negative way, which then obviously you don't want to be like that. But the good thing is you don't have to be like that, and you can literally distance yourself from that person if it really triggers you. Another quality that I think is super cool is setting boundaries, saying no when you want to say no, and also, saying yes when you want to say yes. Setting boundaries, also boundaries like deciding when you leave a party and not staying at a party because everyone's still going. I think a cool person is someone who decides, okay, that's enough for me today. I had so much fun with you guys. I'm going home now. How cool is that? Like being confident about that decision and setting boundaries. I could list so many cool characteristics. I already did kindness, which I think is still one of the coolest characteristics. Being kind is so cool. Being helpful is so cool. Having a talent, I think that's really cool. Like musicians, singing, like being confident in singing. Like, you don't want to hear me sing, but I wish I could sing. But I think that's just so cool when you can sing. Like something that makes you, something that makes you unique and cool. Like being your most authentic self is the coolest thing you can ever do. And to just say another characteristic that is not cool is people that make other people feel bad about themselves. I said it before, like gossiping and stuff, like that's often behind other people's back, not cool. But also making people feel bad about themselves. Comments you share or whatever, that's so not cool to do that. So to sum it up, a cool person to me personally, everyone has different opinions, is a kind hearted person. That's maybe probably for me the most important characteristic for a cool person. I want to give you a little exercise as always. Or like I hope that you every time you listen to an episode you take something out of this that you can ask yourself. So today I want to ask you, what do you think is cool? Like think about your friends as well, like the people you surround yourself with. What is the coolest thing about them? Because you picked them as your friends, so you must think they're cool, like, or you chose them as your circle. So think about what's really cool about them and tell them. We tell people not often enough how much they mean to us and why we think they add so much value into our lives. So this is like a little, probably step out of your comfort zone, but how good does it feel to receive a compliment? And tell your friends why they're important to you, why you have them in your circle, and why you're so grateful to have them in your circle. And then also ask yourself, like I said, what means cool to you? And show up as that person. Show up as that cool person that you think is cool. Be positive, like radiate good energy, whatever you think is cool. Be that person, become that person. I created a space where we share thoughts about mindset, and just the other day, April the 14th, I had another catch-up call with you guys, with some of you guys, and like also did like a little coaching. And I just really love that space. I think for me, they are the coolest people in that space. And I'm now offering the space to more people. You can check out the link below. But I want to share something out of that last call with you. So I do my coaching at the start, and we talked about mindset and how your thoughts create your reality, and a bit more in depth. But at the end, we often have like an open space, not a discussion, because we're not discussing anything, more like an open space to share your thoughts. And one of the girls asked if I have any tips how to deal with limiting beliefs when you feel like an outsider. And first of all, I was so proud of that person to share this with the group. And I shared my tips, but you know what the coolest thing was? The other girls in the group shared their tips as well. And I think that doing that makes them even cooler. Like helping someone who is struggling with a limiting belief and trying to give them advice from their own experience, sharing their own experience. For me, that is so cool. And I was so proud in that moment, like knowing these girls don't know each other, but they're helping, they're sharing their thoughts, they're sharing their advice. I think that made me so proud, and I'm just so happy to have the space. And it also showed me, yes, this is right what I'm doing, like connecting, like I always wanted to do, connect with you guys, because I share so much on social media. Get to know you. You are so cool. Like get to know you, have you in my live calls, chat about mindset, chat about limiting beliefs, chat about life, giving each other advice. That was just something I didn't know how much I loved this, and how much I needed this, and how much other people need this as well. Like skill opening up of like what she's struggling with and asking for advice. That was just so beautiful. I asked the girls if I could share a little snippet, so I'm going to put a little snippet in here, so maybe that will help you as well. Yeah. If anyone wants to share tips to that too, feel free to, or share experiences.
I maybe share a tip or an experience too. So I agree with you and what you said. I have something to add that also helped me, because when I lived in Madrid the last 3 years. And at some point, like I was, of course, also making friends, trying to make friends, meeting a lot of different people and groups and everything. And at some point, I also felt like, hey, none of these groups, I don't really feel connected so deeply to none of these people in the groups. You know, that was a bit weird for me. And then at some point, I also thought, it's me, I don't fit in, I don't belong here, or something like that. But here I would recommend, like, if you don't feel it and you really made the effort and you say, okay, you made the effort and there's still something missing, I try to hear, like, try to listen to that, and I was like, okay, then maybe it's not the right group. So I just continued looking, and it's a bit like dating but finding friends, you know. So I just continued looking. I just looked what is fun. So for example, I joined the volleyball group because I played volleyball before, so I knew I'm already good in the sport. So it's not going to be anything weird because I know I'm pretty good in it. And then the people I knew. So of course you come in and you're like, everyone knows each other and I don't. But I just looked the first time and I was like, okay, actually this is really nice. So even if they know each other, I think you can always think it seems like a nice group and I want to belong to that group. And then if it's right, I think it's also easier to manage to belong to that group. But I learned a bit that sometimes maybe the group is wrong and you just have to keep looking because you'll find your group, and I really found cool groups after that.
What I also always feel helps me, so I also always try to journal, and then I kind of like I am attracting people who like really love me, hear me, see me, or like value me as who I am, and like people come into my life to stay in my life. So kind of like just also visualizing or attracting that the right people who should be in your life and yeah, will stay in your life, kind of find their way into your life. So also, yeah, maybe a bit of like manifestation or visualizing those things.
And as I love the monthly catch ups that I did the past 3 months, I created a space, the Mindful Living Collective, where you can join the live calls, monthly live calls, Q&As, and mindset chats, and talking about limiting beliefs, live lessons, things we struggle with, and how to deal with it, how to get through this. Because as a community, as us together, lifting each other up, being cool people and helping each other, we can achieve great things. Sometimes we just need someone to tell us, hey, you are amazing and you can do great things, and whatever limiting beliefs you have, they are not yours. It's not you, it's just a thought, and you can change the thought. I'm going to do monthly group coachings that you can join. You can watch the recordings. What else is in that? You will find exercises, monthly exercises in this community. I will just leave the link below where you can find more information and watch a video and see how it looks. And I'd love to have you on board. I'd love to connect with you. And yeah, that's it for today. How to become a cool person, how to be a cool person, because you can be it right now. You just have to decide what is a cool person to you. And hope you have an amazing day.